Hello, my name is Amber, and today I'm excited to share with you the story Hope, written by Dr. Asad Ali Syed. This incredible novel is available on Amazon, and if you love the story as much as I do, you can grab your own copy. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's a tale that will stay with you long after you've finished reading. Diego resided in La Plata, a city in Argentina, along with his wife Maya and their 10-year-old son Pablo. Despite lacking formal education, Diego diligently embarked on a daily journey from their modest one-bedroom home, devoid of basic amenities like a kitchen and bathroom, to the bustling heart of La Plata in search of labor opportunities. The dusty air of La Plata clung to Diego's skin as he walked. 10-year-old Pablo skipped a few steps ahead, his worn shoes kicking up puffs of red earth. Reaching the bustling heart of La Plata, Diego's daily routine began. Every morning, he dropped Pablo at the worn school building, the promise of a better future clinging to his threadbare coat. Maya joined him, not just for company, but for a shared purpose. The public bathrooms, a meager substitute for the one they lacked at home, were a necessity. But the harshest truth was that Diego often returned empty-handed, no day labor found. Yet, Maya, with a quiet resilience, sometimes found solace in cleaning the grand houses of the wealthy. Each peso earned was a lifeline, a testament to their unwavering fight for survival. Despite the hardship etched on their faces, their love, a silent language understood by all three, remained their strongest weapon. Diego endured a challenging existence, and the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic inflicted severe hardships in Argentina. Struggling to find employment, Diego faced dire circumstances, resulting in his family going without food for prolonged periods. The COVID cloud hung heavy over La Plata. Days bled into weeks, and Diego's heart ached with each empty plate at home. Jobs were scarce, and the meager savings they had dwindled to a whisper. He couldn't bear the worry etched on Maya's face, or the hunger pangs in Pablo's stomach. Night offered a cloak of shadows, a time when Diego ventured out, not with malice, but with a desperate need to provide. He walked for miles, his footsteps echoing in the deserted streets. Stealing wasn't in his nature, but survival gnawed at his soul. He'd take a loaf of bread here, a handful of vegetables there, just enough to keep his family afloat for a few days, a few precious weeks. For 2 years, this agonizing dance continued. Under the cloak of darkness, Diego became a silent gatherer, a provider in the face of despair. Each stolen morsel was a heavy burden, but the love for his family, a fiercely burning flame, propelled him forward. They didn't talk about it, shame and desperation entwined. Yet, Maya's grateful smile and Pablo's full belly were a silent understanding, a testament to their unwavering love in the face of hardship. The grip of COVID-19 had loosened its hold on La Plata. A cautious optimism hummed through the city, a faint echo of life returning to normal. Yet, the scars of the pandemic lingered. Fear, a persistent shadow from countless deaths, kept many residents indoors. One night, under the cloak of a star-studded sky, Diego decided to venture beyond the city limits. The vegetable markets were still hesitant to open fully, and his family thirsted for fresh produce. He set off towards the village outskirts, a knapsack slung over his shoulder, a silent plea for a better future tucked within. The road stretched before him, a ribbon of darkness under the moon's watchful gaze. The silence was broken only by the rhythmic crunch of his boots on the gravel path. He hummed a forgotten tune, a feeble attempt to ward off the gnawing fear in his gut. Every rustle of leaves, every hooting owl, sent shivers down his spine, a legacy of the virus's reign of terror. Suddenly, a streak of light cut through the darkness, growing rapidly closer. Diego instinctively leaped to the side, barely escaping the roar of a car speeding past. The screech of brakes filled the air, a desperate plea for control. But a sickening thud shattered the night. The car had slammed into a massive tree, its metal frame contorted, flames licking hungrily at the wreckage. Diego's heart hammered against his ribs. Fear threatened to paralyze him, but a primal urge to help surged through him. Ignoring the lingering fear of COVID, he sprinted towards the inferno. As he neared the wreck, a figure slumped over the mangled steering wheel came into view. Smoke billowed through the shattered windows, obscuring the details. Diego, his lungs burning, fumbled in his pocket. No phone. His lifeline to help was useless. Adrenaline coursed through his veins. Memories of his construction work, his calloused hands testament to years of physical labor, fueled his determination. He grabbed a nearby rock and smashed the car window, ignoring the sting of flying glass. With a grunt, he dragged the injured man out of the burning vehicle. The man, unconscious and bloodied, lay limply in Diego's arms. Panic clawed at Diego's throat. The hospital, a beacon of hope, was 5 miles away, an eternity in this precarious situation. The silence, once a source of fear, now felt deafening. COVID had turned this once bustling road into a ghost town. A thought struck him. The vegetables, his family's meager hope for a better meal, lay abandoned by the roadside. Without hesitation, he tossed them aside. Saving a life was paramount, a beacon brighter than any vegetable could ever be. He hoisted the unconscious man onto his back, the weight a mere inconvenience compared to the urgency gnawing at him. Despite the fear threatening to cripple him, Diego set off at a determined pace, his powerful legs carrying them towards the hospital. The miles stretched on, each step a silent prayer. Diego fought the urge to give in to exhaustion, his breath ragged, sweat stinging his eyes. But the image of the injured man spurred him forward. He envisioned his own family, their faces etched with concern, and a surge of renewed strength coursed through him. Just as despair threatened to consume him, headlights flickered in the distance. A wave of relief washed over him. As the car drew closer, he waved his arms frantically, a beacon of hope in the darkness. The car screeched to a halt, and a young woman jumped out, her eyes wide with concern. Diego, his voice hoarse, explained the situation. The woman, a nurse on her way to the night shift, assessed the injured man quickly. Relief flooded her face. "We need to get him to the hospital immediately," she declared, ushering Diego and the man into the car. The remaining journey passed in a blur. As they reached the hospital, the doors swung open, and a team of medical professionals rushed towards them. Diego watched as they took the injured man away, a flicker of hope rekindled in his eyes. The nurse turned to Diego, a newfound respect in her gaze. "You saved his life," she said, her voice filled with awe. Diego, his body drained but his spirit soaring, simply shook his head. Just doing what needed to be done. Diego's feet pounded the pavement, a rhythm driven by both relief and anxiety. Relief flooded him. The injured man was in the capable hands of hospital staff. Anxiety gnawed at him. His family was waiting, hungry, and his abandoned vegetables lay vulnerable by the roadside. The memory of his wife, Maya's, gaunt face fueled his steps. He imagined Pablo, his son, clutching his empty stomach. The vegetables, though meager, were their only hope for a decent meal. He couldn't afford to lose them. Exhausted but strangely exhilarated, Diego retraced his steps towards the village. The rising sun cast long shadows as he reached the accident site. Relief washed over him again. His vegetables were untouched, a testament to the deserted nature of the COVID-scarred road. He scooped them up, their weight a comforting reminder of his responsibility. As he hurried home, the heroic events of the night replayed in his mind. The roar of the car, the searing flames, the unconscious man in his arms, all seemed surreal. He, Diego, a man who struggled to put food on his family's table, had become a hero. Reaching his makeshift home, a converted salt storage unit provided by the government, he found Maya and Pablo huddled together. Their faces lit up as they saw him, relief battling with worry in their eyes. "Diego!" Maya cried, rushing to him. "We were so worried. Where have you been?" Diego, his voice raspy from the night's exertion, recounted the events in a rushed whisper. Maya gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Pablo's eyes widened with awe. "But why didn't you stay?" Maya asked, concern etching lines on her forehead. They could have thanked you. Diego shrugged, the guilt of abandoning the injured man heavy in his heart. We needed food, Maya, he mumbled, gesturing at the vegetables. And what good would it have been for me to stay? A flicker of sadness crossed Maya's eyes, but she understood. Their survival was a constant struggle, a tightrope walk between desperation and dignity. Just then, a knock on the metal door startled them. A woman in a white coat stood outside, her face etched with concern. It was the nurse from the hospital. Are you Diego? She asked, her voice gentle. Diego, wary and surprised, hesitantly nodded. The man you brought in, he's going to be all right thanks to you, she continued. We're trying to reach his family, but it's taking time. He kept muttering about a kind stranger who saved him. I thought you might want to know. A wave of relief washed over Diego. The man was alive, and that was all that mattered. Yet, a pang of regret lingered. He would never know the man he saved, never hear his story, never receive a simple thank you. The nurse, sensing his hesitation, smiled warmly. Before you go, she said, it would be helpful if you could leave some way for us to contact you. In case the man wants to meet his rescuer, you know? Diego hesitated. Shame burned at his cheeks. How could he explain his ramshackle dwelling, a place with no official address, to this well-dressed woman from the hospital? But then, Pablo's hopeful eyes met his, and Maya squeezed his hand reassuringly. Taking a deep breath, Diego mumbled, It's not much, but... He explained their situation, the converted government storage unit, his fear of appearing homeless. The nurse listened patiently, her expression softening with understanding. That's perfectly all right, she said. Just a name and a rough location will do. With a newfound sense of hope, Diego provided his information. The nurse offered him a warm smile and a sincere thank you before departing. If you're enjoying Dr. Syed's storytelling so far, check out his other novels. They're all available on Amazon. As the metal door shut with a clang, Diego turned to his family, a newfound warmth filling the cramped space. He may not have had a fancy address, but he had saved a life, and that, in itself, was a treasure worth more than any material possession. 2 weeks bled into one another within the sterile confines of the hospital room. It was the affluent businessman, Mr. Lewis, president of the esteemed and prestigious institution, Centro Educativo de Alta Sociedad, High Society Educational Center, in La Plata. Both legs were fractured, and a face marred by airbag scars were constant reminders of the nightmarish car accident. His recollection of the events was fragmented. A screeching halt, the sickening thud of metal against wood, then darkness. Waking in the sterile white room, Mr. Lewis pieced together the story. Faulty brakes. A collision with a tree. But a crucial detail remained elusive, his rescue. Wondering how he had made it to the hospital in the dead of night, with no one else around, Mr. Lewis sought answers from the doctor. He learned that it was a nurse who had brought him to the hospital. Relief washed over Mr. Lewis. Gratitude, warm and insistent, bloomed in his chest. He owed his life to this unseen savior. The next day, a bouquet of lilies, extravagant and fragrant, arrived at the nurse's station. A card, embossed with the Centro Educativo's crest, expressed Mr. Lewis's heartfelt thanks. The nurse, used to the sterile routines of the hospital, was touched. Yet, a flicker of unease tugged at her. Later that day, Mr. Lewis, propped up on pillows, inquired about his rescue from a nurse. It wasn't just the nurse, Mr. Lewis, she began hesitantly. Intrigue flickered in his eyes. She then launched into the extraordinary tale of Diego. A man with calloused hands and a face etched with hardship. A man who had stumbled upon the wreckage, fear momentarily eclipsed by the desperate need to help.